Imagine waking up every morning feeling mentally sharper, remembering more details from the day before, and absorbing new information effortlessly. Now imagine all of that not from a pill or a gadget, but from unlocking one of your body's most ancient and powerful natural forces. This isn't just about rest. It's about how your brain transforms itself each night, repairing, reorganizing, and rebuilding through the mysterious rhythm of delta brainwaves. Today, we're venturing inside the human mind to uncover the secrets of deep sleep and why understanding it could be the key to unlocking your full cognitive potential. The Delta Powerhouse. Imagine drifting into the deepest layer of sleep. Not the light doze of early night, not the vivid dreamscapes of AM, but something heavier, quieter, and far more profound. In this stillness, the brain enters a rhythm so slow, so powerful, it becomes the foundation of restoration itself. This is the domain of delta waves, the brain's slowest and mightiest electrical patterns, and the true powerhouse of human renewal. Every night, as you close your eyes, your brain begins a journey through shifting currents of consciousness. At first, it hovers near wakefulness, flickering with quick alpha waves, the gentle hum of a mind still tethered to the external world. Then, as drowsiness deepens, those waves slow into theta, guiding you toward the threshold of sleep. But beyond that threshold lies a realm unlike any other, where the brain slows to less than 4 cycles per second, and energy surges through its deepest networks in massive, synchronized bursts. That realm is deep sleep, and delta waves are its signature. In scientific recordings, delta waves appear not as fine ripples, but as sweeping tides, great arcs of electrical power rising and falling across the cerebral landscape. Each pulse represents millions of neurons firing in unison, then resting in perfect silence before the next surge. It is in this rhythm, this oscillation between storm and stillness, that the brain finds its greatest peace. Deep sleep occupies roughly 20% of a healthy night's rest. But those hours are not just minutes of unconsciousness. They are a symphony of precise biological processes, chemical choreography fine-tuned over millions of years of evolution. Here, neurons rest and reset. Hormones surge and regulate. Cellular damage is repaired. And the mind begins the silent work of consolidation, turning the chaos of the day into stable memories and pruning away what no longer serves. To understand why delta waves hold such power, we must step inside the sleeping brain. Under the microscope of neuroimaging, we see that the moment delta rhythms emerge, the neocortex, the brain's outer shell responsible for thought, language, and perception, begins to slow its chatter. Regions that process sound, vision, and touch reduce their activity to near silence. The thalamus, the brain's central relay station, shifts into low-gear communication, passing only minimal sensory information. And the hippocampus, the deep-seated structure responsible for forming memories, begins to communicate with the cortex in long, deliberate bursts, a kind of conversation through the static. It's in these moments, guided by the slow oscillation of delta waves, that memory consolidation begins. During the day, experiences are recorded in the hippocampus, a temporary storage buffer. But during deep sleep, under the guidance of delta rhythms, those experiences are replayed, organized, and transferred to the cortex for long-term storage. It's a nightly data migration, one that transforms fleeting experiences into lasting knowledge. This process doesn't just preserve memories, it strengthens them. Studies have shown that individuals deprived of deep sleep struggle with recall, comprehension, and creativity. Without delta waves orchestrating the night's repair, the brain becomes foggy, reaction times slow, and emotional control weakens. Deep sleep, then, is not luxury. It's neurological necessity. But the power of delta waves extends far beyond memory. They are also the guardians of the body. During this stage, the autonomic nervous system tilts toward the parasympathetic, the rest and repair mode. Heart rate slows. Blood pressure drops. Breathing deepens into rhythmic cycles. At the same time, the pituitary gland releases a pulse of growth hormone, triggering widespread repair across tissues. Muscles recover from micro tears, bones strengthen, immune cells renew, and energy stores replenish. All while you remain completely unaware, enveloped in darkness, carried on the slow waves of delta activity. In animal studies, scientists have observed that when delta waves are suppressed, whether through deprivation or disruption, physical healing slows dramatically. Wounds take longer to close. Muscle fibers regenerate less efficiently. And in the brain itself, glial cells, the caretakers of neural health, lose their rhythm of repair. The implication is profound. Delta sleep is not merely restorative, it is essential to survival. But why do delta waves appear only in deep sleep? To answer that, we must look at how the brain uses energy. While awake, the brain consumes vast amounts of glucose and oxygen, more than any other organ in the body. Neural networks fire continuously, maintaining awareness, processing stimuli, and controlling motion. But this comes at a cost: energy depletion and the buildup of toxic byproducts like adenosine and beta amyloid. When we sleep, particularly in delta states, neural firing decreases dramatically, as much as 40% less than wakefulness. This reduction allows the brain to divert its resources from processing to repair. It's during delta sleep that the glymphatic system, the brain's hidden drainage network, activates. Between neurons, tiny channels expand, flushing cerebrospinal fluid through the brain's tissue. This flow removes waste products that accumulate during waking hours, including the same beta amyloid plaques implicated in Alzheimer's disease. It's a process that only happens efficiently during deep sleep, when neurons are least active and blood flow can redirect through these cleansing pathways. To visualize it, imagine a bustling city that shuts down at night. As lights dim and streets empty, cleaning crews emerge, washing away debris, restoring order before the morning rush. Your brain performs a similar nightly ritual, and delta waves are the signal for that restoration to begin. Interestingly, these waves don't occur evenly across the brain. They move in patterns, slow, sweeping fronts that travel from the frontal lobes toward the back of the brain like rolling electrical storms. Each wave corresponds to a synchronized downshift in neural activity, followed by a gentle reawakening. Scientists call this pattern slow oscillation coupling, and it's one of the most fascinating features of human sleep. It's also deeply personal. No two brains produce delta waves in exactly the same way. Your sleep architecture, how long you stay in each stage when delta waves appear, and how strong they are, forms a unique fingerprint. shaped by genetics, lifestyle, and even your emotional state. Stress, for instance, weakens delta activity. Caffeine delays its onset. And even mild anxiety can fragment deep sleep cycles, causing your brain to hover near lighter stages instead of sinking into restorative depths. Conversely, meditation, exercise, and consistent sleep schedules can strengthen these rhythms, allowing your body to descend faster and stay longer in delta states. What's remarkable is that delta waves aren't limited to nighttime sleep. They can appear during states of deep meditation or trance when consciousness shifts inward. Monks trained in long-term meditative practices have demonstrated delta-like rhythms while fully awake, suggesting that humans may be able to access elements of deep sleep's restoration consciously. It blurs the boundary between rest and awareness, hinting that delta's potential may reach far beyond what we currently understand. As we explore deeper into this mysterious realm, one truth becomes undeniable. Delta waves represent the essence of recovery, not only for the body, but for the mind. They bridge biology and consciousness, physiology and psychology. Every night, they erase the noise of the day and give birth to clarity. And yet, delta sleep is fragile. In modern life, with artificial light, irregular schedules, and constant stimulation, these deep rhythms are easily disrupted. Our nights grow shorter, our rest lighter, and our delta power weaker. But understanding its mechanisms offers hope, because what can be measured can be improved. The journey to stronger delta waves begins with awareness of light, of timing, of mental rhythm. As the hours of night unfold and your brain drifts deeper into those slow oscillations, every wave becomes a healing pulse, every silence between them a breath. This is where the body resets, the mind recalibrates, and life quietly rebuilds itself. In the stillness of delta sleep, evolution carved the blueprint for human resilience. Every heartbeat slows to listen. Every neuron pauses to breathe. And in that deep, wordless silence, the delta powerhouse awakens. Inside the nightly repair shop, when the brain descends into deep sleep, something extraordinary happens. A silent transformation that reaches every corner of the body. It's as though behind the scenes, a vast biological workshop comes to life. Every cell, every organ, every system begins to repair, recalibrate, and renew. This is the nightly repair shop, a place where the body restores itself at the most fundamental level. During waking hours, your body is in constant motion. Muscles contract, neurons fire, hormones surge and fall in quick succession. Every thought, every heartbeat, every movement consumes energy and creates microscopic wear. But as you drift into the slow, rhythmic pulse of delta sleep, the body shifts modes, from activity to maintenance, from expenditure to restoration. In this mode, metabolic demand drops. Your brain consumes up to 40% less glucose than during wakefulness. The heart slows, blood pressure decreases, and your breathing becomes a deep, stable rhythm. This is not inactivity, it's efficiency. The body diverts its resources from outward engagement to inward repair. Let's step deeper into this process, into the living machinery that awakens only when consciousness fades. The cellular workshop. Inside each of your trillions of cells, deep sleep triggers a flurry of repair. Damaged DNA is identified and corrected. Misfolded proteins, the molecular errors of daily life, are broken down and recycled. Mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, undergo maintenance cycles, discarding worn components and restoring their ability to generate clean energy. This microscopic upkeep is crucial. When you're awake, oxidative stress and inflammation accumulate, byproducts of living in an oxygen-rich environment. But delta sleep gives the body a chance to clear them away. It's as if every cell takes a breath, resets, and readies itself for another day of function. Studies have shown that people deprived of deep sleep show higher levels of oxidative damage, weaker immune responses, and slower tissue healing. The evidence is clear. The quality of your deep sleep shapes the quality of your biological youth. The hormonal symphony. While the cells repair, another system begins its delicate performance, the endocrine orchestra. From deep within the brain, in a structure no larger than a pea, the pituitary gland releases pulses of growth hormone, one of the most critical substances for regeneration. Growth hormone doesn't simply make bones longer or muscles larger, it drives renewal. It stimulates protein synthesis, accelerates tissue recovery, supports immune resilience, and promotes fat metabolism. In younger individuals, these pulses are strong and rhythmic. But as we age, the peaks diminish, contributing to slower recovery and reduced vitality. What's fascinating is that the release of growth hormone depends heavily on delta activity. If deep sleep is disrupted, whether by stress, irregular hours, or light exposure, the pulse weakens. But when delta sleep is strong, the gland responds with precision, timing each hormonal wave to the rhythm of the night. Alongside growth hormone, melatonin continues its nightly role, regulating circadian timing, scavenging free radicals, and supporting immune cells. Even testosterone and estrogen levels stabilize during these cycles, ensuring hormonal harmony that supports both body and brain. For the cardiovascular system, this is the moment of rest. The heart experiences reduced workload, arteries relax, and blood vessels repair their inner lining, a process vital to long-term heart health. The quiet of deep sleep protects against hypertension and strengthens the heart's resilience against stress. The glymphatic awakening. Yet perhaps the most astonishing repair system activated during deep sleep is one hidden for centuries, only discovered by modern neuroscience in the last decade, the glymphatic system. For years, scientists wondered how the brain, so richly active yet sealed behind the blood-brain barrier, managed to cleanse itself of waste. Elsewhere in the body, the lymphatic system performs that task, but the brain has no such network. Or so they thought. Then, using high-resolution imaging, researchers at the University of Rochester uncovered a remarkable process. They observed that during deep sleep, the spaces between brain cells expand by up to 60%, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow through neural tissue, washing away toxins and metabolic debris. This nightly flood removes compounds like beta-amyloid and tau proteins, substances linked to neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. The system is powered, in part, by the rhythmic pulsing of delta waves. As neurons synchronize, their electrical cycles create minute pressure changes, driving fluid flow through the brain's channels. It's a cleansing tide, one that ebbs and flows in harmony with the slow oscillations of the sleeping. The discovery of the glymphatic system changed how scientists view sleep itself. It's no longer seen as passive rest, but as an active state of maintenance, a nightly detox that preserves mental clarity and longevity. And if deep sleep is shortened, the consequences can accumulate. Toxins remain, inflammation rises, and neural communication becomes less efficient. This is why even small disruptions, late-night scrolling, caffeine too close to bedtime, or fragmented sleep, can ripple into long-term cognitive fog. Deep sleep is not optional. It's essential hygiene for the brain. The energy reset. While the brain cleanses itself, energy reserves throughout the body are rebalanced. The liver, a 24-hour biochemical factory, shifts its priorities from processing nutrients to storing glycogen, ensuring the next day's energy supply. The muscles replenish ATP, the currency of cellular power, and the immune system deploys white blood cells more efficiently, scanning for threats and repairing micro-damage from the day's activities. In this restorative environment, inflammation subsides. Cytokines, the molecules that regulate immune response, find their natural balance. This nightly rhythm keeps chronic inflammation in check and protects against autoimmune dysfunction. Without deep sleep, however, this delicate balance unravels. Cortisol, the stress hormone, remains elevated. Blood sugar regulation weakens, and immune cells begin to misfire, leading to fatigue, poor recovery, and vulnerability to illness. Sleep researchers have found that just one night of disrupted deep sleep can impair glucose tolerance to the same degree as mild diabetes. Over time, chronic deprivation alters metabolism and contributes to weight gain, insulin resistance, and cardiovascular strain. The conclusion is stark. The body cannot separate physical health from sleep health. The cellular cleaners. At the molecular level, another process unfolds, one that ensures long-term cellular health: autophagy. This is the body's way of cleaning house on a microscopic scale. During deep sleep, cells identify and recycle damaged proteins, lipids, and organelles. It's not destruction, it's renewal. The process allows cells to remain efficient, youthful, and functional. Autophagy is most active when the body's energy intake is low, during fasting or sleep. It's triggered by the drop in insulin and the rise in natural repair signals that accompany delta sleep. Without it, old or damaged cellular components build up, leading to aging and disease. When we maintain healthy deep sleep, autophagy becomes one of our greatest allies, a silent guardian of longevity. The neural gardeners. As the brain's networks rest, another subtle process begins: synaptic pruning. During the day, the brain forms countless new connections in response to experiences, stimuli, and learning. But not all of these connections are necessary. At night, the brain evaluates them, strengthening some, trimming others. This is guided by patterns of delta waves, which mark areas for retention or removal. In this way, sleep shapes the architecture of the mind. It ensures efficiency, preserving pathways that matter most and clearing clutter to make room for new learning. It's this nightly pruning that allows creativity and problem-solving to flourish. Without it, neural circuits become crowded, signals less precise, and cognitive flexibility declines. Sleep is, in essence, the gardener of consciousness. tending to the landscape of thought, the deep connection between body and mind. As all these systems work together, deep sleep becomes more than biology. It becomes balance. The physical and mental realms intertwine, creating the foundation for clarity, mood stability, and resilience. When the body is restored, the mind follows. When the brain is cleansed, emotions stabilize. It's an elegant cycle of mutual reinforcement, one that depends entirely on those silent, nightly hours beneath the veil of consciousness. This balance has been recognized for millennia. Ancient cultures viewed sleep as sacred, a gateway to healing. Modern science is now confirming what intuition long suggested, that deep rest is the source of vitality, creativity, and longevity. And in the vast laboratory of the human body, deep sleep remains its most sophisticated experiment, one that repeats itself every night, refining the art of repair with breathtaking precision. In the next hour, we'll explore what happens when this perfect process begins to falter. As we age, deep sleep naturally declines. The waves weaken, the rhythms shorten, and the repair shop grows quieter. But understanding why and how to protect it may be the most important insight of all. Because what happens inside the nightly repair shop determines how we age, how we think, and how long we thrive. The age factor. Time touches everything, every cell, every rhythm, every heartbeat. And though we may not feel it day by day, its influence shapes the most vital of our nightly processes, deep sleep. In youth, deep sleep comes effortlessly, long, rich, and powerful. But as the years pass, the slow, sweeping rhythm of delta waves begins to fade. The once potent surge of nightly restoration grows shallower, fragmented, and shorter. This is the story of sleep's quiet decline through age, and how understanding it may hold the key to extending both life and vitality. When a child falls asleep, their brain plunges rapidly into deep, delta-rich cycles. These slow oscillations dominate the first half of the night, filling their sleep with undisturbed restoration. Growth hormone peaks, brain cells repair, memory networks strengthen. It is nature's most efficient renewal process. But by the time a person reaches middle age, the total amount of deep sleep they experience can be cut in half. And by age 60, the amplitude of delta waves may be reduced by more than 70%. The cycles shorten, awakenings increase, and the body's nightly restoration becomes incomplete. Why does this happen? The answer lies in the intricate machinery of the aging brain and the subtle decay of communication between its parts. The slow erosion of delta waves. In the young brain, neurons communicate in synchrony. Large populations fire together, generating strong delta oscillations that cascade through the cortex. But as we age, the architecture of the brain begins to change. Neural pathways lose density. White matter, the connective tissue that allows regions to coordinate, begins to fray. With fewer intact connections, neurons struggle to fire in harmony. The slow waves that once surged in unity become fragmented, breaking into smaller, weaker bursts. It's as though the orchestra that once played in perfect time has lost its conductor. Electroencephalogram studies reveal this clearly. Older adults display fewer large-amplitude slow waves and more irregular sleep spindles, signs that deep sleep's synchronization has weakened. This reduction isn't just a symptom of aging. it may be a driver of it. The role of the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive function, decision-making, and working memory, plays a critical role in generating deep sleep. It's one of the brain's slow-wave powerhouses, but it is also one of the first regions to deteriorate with age. As gray matter volume shrinks, the prefrontal cortex loses its ability to sustain large, coordinated delta waves. The decline of this region doesn't only affect cognitive control during the day, it also weakens the very sleep that maintains brain health at night. This creates a feedback loop. Reduced deep sleep leads to poorer memory and emotional regulation, which increases stress and inflammation, which in turn disrupts sleep further. The cycle perpetuates itself quietly, year after year. Hormonal shifts and circadian drift. Another key factor in sleep's aging is hormonal change. With time, the body's production of melatonin, the hormone that signals darkness and prepares the brain for sleep, diminishes. The pineal gland, which secretes melatonin, calcifies slowly, reducing output. At the same time, growth hormone pulses that once surged during delta sleep weaken. This reduces the body's ability to regenerate tissues, balance metabolism, and regulate fat distribution. And with fewer growth hormone bursts, the physiological drive for deep sleep becomes less intense. The circadian rhythm, the 24-hour internal clock, also drifts. Older adults often experience a natural shift toward earlier sleep and wake times, known as phase advance. This mismatch with environmental cues, especially artificial light, can fragment sleep further, causing awakenings that prevent entry into the deepest stages. The result, shorter, lighter sleep, punctuated by interruptions that rob the brain of its most powerful restorative waves. The microglial connection. In recent years, neuroscientists have discovered that aging also alters the behavior of microglia, the brain's immune cells. These microscopic guardians patrol the neural landscape, cleaning debris and regulating inflammation. But with age, microglia can become overactive, releasing inflammatory molecules that interfere with neuronal communication. This neuroinflammation dulls the brain's electrical rhythm, weakening the coordination needed for delta activity. Inflammation acts like static in the circuitry of sleep. It interrupts the smooth transitions between stages, disrupts synaptic repair, and impairs memory consolidation. Over decades, the cumulative effect erodes both cognitive performance and the ability to sustain deep rest. Memory, learning, and the sleep-age link. One of the most striking consequences of deep sleep decline is its impact on memory. In young adults, slow-wave sleep enhances the transfer of information from the hippocampus, the brain's temporary memory storehouse, to the cortex, where memories become permanent. But as delta activity fades, this nightly transfer weakens. Older adults often experience what scientists call memory replay failure. The hippocampus still tries to send information, but the cortex without strong delta waves doesn't receive the full message. It's like trying to download a file over a weak connection. Parts of the data arrive, but others are lost. The result is familiar. Names forgotten, details blurred, experiences fading faster than they should. Yet in individuals who manage to preserve deep sleep quality, memory retention remains remarkably intact, even into advanced age. This suggests that protecting delta sleep may protect cognition itself. The emotional cost of shallow sleep. The consequences of reduced deep sleep aren't confined to memory. They reach deep into the realm of emotion. When delta sleep weakens, the brain's ability to regulate the amygdala, the center of fear and emotion, also diminishes. Inadequate deep sleep amplifies emotional reactivity and reduces resilience. Irritability, anxiety, and even depression correlate strongly with reduced slow-wave sleep. Functional MRI studies show that sleep-deprived or older individuals with fragmented deep sleep exhibit up to a 60% increase in amygdala activation in response to negative stimuli. Without sufficient delta recovery, the emotional brain becomes unbalanced, reactive, volatile, and less able to recover from stress. This is why emotional regulation often feels harder with age, not just because of life's complexity, but because the nightly repair of emotional circuits grows weaker. The metabolic ripple. Beyond the brain, the loss of deep sleep reshapes the entire metabolic landscape. With age, the body's ability to regulate glucose declines, but sleep loss accelerates this process. Deep sleep is when insulin sensitivity resets, a nightly recalibration that keeps energy balance in check. When delta sleep shortens, this process falters, leading to higher blood sugar levels, increased fat storage, and elevated cortisol. This metabolic imbalance further disrupts sleep, forming yet another vicious cycle, one that links aging, obesity, diabetes, and insomnia into a single physiological chain. Why some people keep deep sleep longer. Yet not everyone experiences this decline equally. Certain individuals, often those with strong routines, physical activity, and consistent exposure to natural light, maintain deep, restorative sleep well into their 70s and 80s. Their secret lies in the stability of rhythm. Exercise boosts slow-wave activity by promoting cellular repair and improving circulation to the brain. Natural daylight exposure anchors the circadian rhythm, preserving melatonin cycles. And mental engagement, learning new skills, solving problems, staying curious, keeps neural networks active, promoting the structural health that supports delta generation. Even diet plays a role. Omega-3 fatty acids found in fish oils maintain neuronal flexibility. Magnesium supports relaxation. And antioxidants reduce inflammation that interferes with slow-wave activity. These individuals often describe sleep not as effort, but as surrender, a natural rhythm supported by balanced living. And the science agrees. The body rewards consistency with longevity. Can deep sleep be reclaimed? Recent advances in neuroscience suggest that deep sleep decline may not be irreversible. Experiments using acoustic stimulation, gentle sound pulses timed to match delta frequencies, have successfully enhanced slow-wave activity in older adults, improving memory performance overnight. Other research explores transcranial electrical stimulation, where mild currents applied to the scalp synchronize neurons into delta-like patterns, coaxing the brain into deeper rest. Even simple behavioral changes, such as maintaining cool sleeping environments, limiting alcohol, and aligning meal times with circadian rhythm, have measurable effects on delta strength. These findings hint at a revolutionary idea that sleep quality can be trained. And if it can be trained, it can be preserved, even restored. The greater implication. The gradual erosion of deep sleep mirrors the passage of life itself. As delta waves weaken, the nightly renewal that keeps the mind young begins to fade, a process as natural as aging itself. But nature has also given us tools: movement, rhythm, darkness, temperature, and rest. Through them we can slow that decline and perhaps extend the clarity and vitality that deep sleep provides. Aging may reduce our time, but it need not steal our renewal. Every night offers another chance, another rhythm to reset, repair, and restore. And as science continues to uncover the mechanics of sleep's decline, it brings us closer to something profound: the possibility of aging with energy, memory, and balance intact, carried forward by the quiet pulse of delta waves. In the next hour, we'll explore how to preserve and optimize deep sleep, not just to rest, but to sharpen learning, boost creativity, and unlock the full potential of the mind. Because deep sleep doesn't only restore, it empowers. The cognitive edge. Each night as you close your eyes and drift beyond the noise of thought, your brain begins its most important work. While the world sleeps, the mind reorganizes itself, sorting memories, refining skills, strengthening emotions, and even solving problems that seemed impossible in daylight. This unseen process, governed by the slow pulse of delta waves, is what gives humans the cognitive edge, the ability to learn faster, think clearer, and adapt. Sleep has always been nature's most powerful learning tool. It's the secret engine of intelligence that hums quietly beneath our awareness, shaping who we are and who we become. The nightly classroom. When you learn something new, a fact, a movement, a language, a melody, your brain encodes that information in fragile networks of neurons. These early traces are unstable, like wet clay waiting to be set. During deep sleep, particularly in slow wave stages, those traces are replayed, refined, and strengthened. The hippocampus, your brain's memory hub, reactivates the day's experiences, sending them back to the cortex for long-term storage. It's a nightly classroom, one where your brain revises its lessons without conscious effort. Every delta wave acts as a metronome, timing the transfer of information, guiding neural connections into permanence. Without this nightly tutoring, memory falters. With it, learning thrives. Experiments confirm this remarkable effect. Students allowed a full night of deep sleep after studying perform up to 40% better on recall tests than those deprived of it. The difference isn't practice, it's the silent strengthening that occurs while they rest. The saying "sleep on it" isn't just advice, it's biology. The mind continues to work even when we think it rests. The architecture of memory. Inside the sleeping brain, memories don't just solidify, they reorganize. Unrelated fragments link together, creating new associations that didn't exist before. This reorganization is the foundation of creativity, the ability to connect distant ideas into something. Neuroscientists have observed that during deep sleep, the brain selectively strengthens relevant connections while weakening unnecessary ones. This pruning creates efficiency, reducing noise, sharpening signal. It's how a cluttered, overstimulated mind finds clarity by morning. In this sense, delta waves serve as the sculptors of thought. They guide which connections remain and which fade, ensuring that knowledge becomes structured, meaningful, and retrievable. Every night your brain edits the story of your day, keeping the truths that matter, discarding the noise that doesn't. And when you awaken, the world feels clearer, as though the mind has quietly rewritten itself. The creative mind at rest. Artists, scientists, inventors throughout history, many have credited dreams and sleep for their greatest insights. Paul McCartney awoke from sleep with the melody of yesterday. Dmitri Mendeleev, the creator of the periodic table, dreamed of the atomic arrangement. Even Albert Einstein described his breakthroughs as visions that appeared after deep contemplation and rest. Though we often attribute such moments to REM dreaming, research suggests that deep sleep lays the groundwork for those creative leaps. It clears the mind, strengthens core knowledge, and primes neural circuits for unexpected connections. Creativity is not chaos, it's structured freedom, built upon a stable foundation. That foundation is deep sleep. When delta rhythms sweep through the brain, they silence unnecessary chatter, allowing distant regions to synchronize. It's in this quiet, synchronized state that insight can emerge, the sudden flash of understanding after a night's rest. The emotional reset. Memory and creativity are not the only gifts of delta sleep. Perhaps even more vital is its role in emotional balance. Throughout the day, the amygdala, the brain's alarm center, reacts to every challenge, stress, and threat. But during deep sleep, these emotional circuits are recalibrated. The connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, the rational, controlling region, is restored and strengthened. This nightly reset ensures that emotions remain in harmony with reason. Without deep sleep, the amygdala becomes hyperactive, leading to irritability, impulsiveness, and anxiety. A single night of poor sleep can increase emotional reactivity by more than 60%. Over time, the absence of delta sleep can contribute to depression and mood instability. But when we sleep deeply, our emotional system renews itself. We wake calmer, more centered, more capable of empathy and resilience. This is why a rested mind doesn't just think better, it feels better. Learning beyond limits. The influence of deep sleep on learning extends far beyond memory recall. It governs skill acquisition, problem solving, and intuition, the subtle cognitive processes that make us adaptable. Athletes who sleep deeply show faster motor recovery and improved performance. Musicians consolidate complex sequences more efficiently. Even chess players, coders, and pilots demonstrate sharper pattern recognition after nights rich in slow-wave sleep. During delta sleep, the brain's motor and sensory regions replay the day's activities, not randomly, but in precise sequences that refine muscle memory and timing. It's like an athlete reviewing game footage while resting, each repetition strengthening the brain-body connection. In this way, the sleeping mind becomes an extension of practice, a silent coach perfecting your technique while you lie still. Deep sleep and intelligence. Cognitive tests reveal a fascinating link. Individuals with stronger delta wave activity often perform better on measures of reasoning, comprehension, and adaptability. This doesn't mean intelligence is created by sleep, but it is maintained by it. Delta sleep reinforces neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to change and adapt. Without it, learning new languages, mastering new skills, or even adapting to change becomes harder. The brain stiffens, flexibility fades. But with consistent, deep sleep, neural pathways remain supple. Communication between hemispheres improves, and the mind retains its youthful agility. It is no coincidence that peak intellectual performance often aligns with periods of consistent, high-quality sleep. Technology, disruption, and the modern mind. In the modern world, however, this delicate balance faces unprecedented challenges. Artificial light floods our nights. Caffeine extends our days. Screens, notifications, and round-the-clock connectivity trick our brains into perpetual wakefulness. Delta sleep is the first casualty. Blue light from devices suppresses melatonin production, delaying deep sleep onset. Late-night stress keeps cortisol elevated, preventing the descent into slow-wave patterns. Even subtle noises, traffic, alerts, or ambient light can fragment the cycles, breaking the continuity that deep restoration requires. The result is a society constantly awake, yet perpetually fatigued, cognitively efficient, but emotionally drained. We've traded natural rhythm for constant stimulation, and in doing so, surrendered one of our greatest evolutionary advantages. But there's a way back, not through technology, but through balance. Reclaiming deep sleep is about alignment between light and dark, activity and rest, body and mind. Training the delta mind. Recent research suggests that the human brain can learn to produce stronger delta waves. Meditation, breathing practices, and even certain sound frequencies can guide the brain into slow-wave states. Monks trained in deep mindfulness have been shown to exhibit delta activity while awake, accessing restoration without full sleep. For the average person, simpler methods can help. Keeping a consistent sleep schedule, aligning with natural circadian timing, avoiding bright screens and artificial light an hour before bed, engaging in physical exercise during the day to increase nighttime slow-wave intensity, maintaining a cool, quiet, dark environment that supports deep rest, using natural sounds like rhythmic pulses at 1 to 4 Hz to gently entrain delta waves. These habits don't just improve rest, they enhance mental capacity. Within weeks, people often report sharper focus, faster recall, and deeper calm, all signs that the brain is rediscovering its natural rhythm. The sleeper's paradox. There is a paradox within deep sleep. The brain appears at rest, yet it's never more active in transformation. While consciousness fades, creativity blooms. While thought pauses, learning accelerates. And while awareness disappears, the self strengthens. It's as if evolution designed this nightly surrender not as escape, but as evolution's workshop, a place where each of us becomes slightly better, night after night. Deep sleep makes us smarter, not only by preserving what we know, but by preparing the mind for what's next. It gives us foresight, adaptability, and perspective, the qualities that define intelligence itself. The delta state is not just about recovery, it's about advancement. It's where biology meets consciousness, and where the potential of the human mind quietly expands toward mastery. In every field, from art to science to sport, mastery depends on repetition, reflection, and rest. Repetition forms the skill. Reflection refines it. And rest, through deep sleep, integrates it into the brain's structure. It's no coincidence that breakthroughs often follow periods of rest. When you step away, sleep allows the mind to reorganize and connect ideas in ways the waking brain cannot. That aha moment in the morning is not luck. It's the final stage of a process that began in delta waves. To master anything, to learn deeply, think clearly, and create meaningfully, you must master sleep. Because deep sleep is not just part of the learning cycle. It is the learning cycle. The edge we forgot. As a species, we've always sought an edge, faster machines, stronger tools, sharper minds. Yet the greatest edge of all may not lie in invention, but in restoration. Every night, the key to human potential waits behind closed eyes, hidden in the rhythm of delta waves. It's not something we need to build, only something we need to reclaim. The path to sharper thinking, deeper creativity, and greater emotional balance begins not with more effort, but with better rest. Because deep sleep isn't time lost. It's time invested in clarity, in intelligence, in the quiet expansion of who we are. In our final hour, we'll bring everything together, exploring how the mastery of deep sleep can reshape not only the mind, but the trajectory of human health and evolution itself. We'll enter the closing chapter, the Delta Awakening, reclaiming the power within. The Delta Awakening, reclaiming the power within. For centuries, humans have searched for enlightenment in temples, mountains, and machines. Yet one of the most profound gateways to transformation lies within every one of us, accessed each night in silence and darkness. It's not hidden in ancient texts or secret rituals. It's within the pulse of the delta wave, the slow rhythm that renews mind and body alike. This is the awakening we were never taught to recognize. Not a mystical revelation, but a biological one. The Delta Awakening begins when we understand that deep sleep is not the end of the day, but the beginning of our becoming. The forgotten gift. In the earliest days of humankind, sleep was sacred. Ancient healers saw it as the moment when the soul returned to the body. Tribal societies built rituals around the night, songs, fires, and stories designed to calm the mind and align it with the rhythm of darkness. In these quiet hours, the body healed, the brain restored, and the tribe reconnected with itself. Sleep was not just survival, it was communion. But somewhere along the road to modern civilization, this reverence faded. The industrial age turned night into day. Electric light shattered the ancient partnership between sunlight and shadow. And as technology expanded, our nights grew shorter, our minds more restless. We forgot that to wake fully, one must first sleep deeply. The forgotten gift of delta sleep remains buried beneath our pursuit of productivity, waiting to be reclaimed. The biological awakening. To understand awakening through sleep, we must return to biology. When delta waves surge through the brain, they don't merely signal rest, they orchestrate a complete physiological transformation. Heart rate slows. Blood pressure stabilizes. Breathing deepens into rhythm with the body's oldest pattern. Muscles relax. Immune cells activate. And the brain enters its deepest state of repair and synchronization. The pituitary gland releases growth hormone, restoring tissues and rebuilding strength. Meanwhile, the glymphatic system opens, cleansing the neural landscape, washing away the waste of wakefulness. It's a biological symphony, tuned to the slow rhythm of delta waves. Each cycle renews your body's blueprint, rewriting health from the inside out. Deep sleep is not passive. It's an engine of renewal, one that every living organism depends upon. When you awaken from true delta sleep, you don't just feel rested. You feel reborn. The mind in stillness. As the body repairs, the mind finds stillness. In delta sleep, the chatter of thought disappears. The brain's prefrontal cortex, seat of logic and identity, quiets. The sensory gateways close, and yet, beneath the silence, something profound happens. Neuroscientists studying delta activity have discovered that even as consciousness fades, the brain's integrative networks, the regions responsible for meaning and self, remain subtly active. It's as if the mind is processing without words, understanding without awareness. Some researchers call this the default restoration mode, a state where the brain reconciles emotional conflicts, aligns memory with identity, and restores a sense of purpose. In delta sleep, we don't think about ourselves. We reconnect to ourselves. It is in this quiet unity that healing begins. The ego dissolves, the past softens, and the nervous system, long burdened by survival, remembers peace. The evolutionary design. Deep sleep isn't a luxury, it's an evolutionary masterpiece. From mammals to birds, even reptiles, all life forms that dream share one thing in common: cycles of slow-wave rest. It's the universal code of survival. For early humans, deep sleep was when the body recovered from the hunt, and the mind processed the day's learning. It forged memory, built skill, and fostered creativity, all essential for adaptation. But delta sleep also gave rise to something uniquely human: self-awareness. The introspective mind, capable of imagination, art, and empathy, evolved not from endless wakefulness, but from the depths of nightly stillness. In this light, deep sleep isn't just maintenance. It's the very engine that made consciousness possible. Every idea, invention, and revelation in human history owes something to the restorative rhythm of delta waves. Without them, civilization itself might never have awakened. The sleep-deprived world. Today, humanity stands at a paradox. We are the most advanced species in history, yet the most sleep-deprived. Our nights are filled with artificial light, our minds tethered to glowing screens, our schedules demanding perpetual alertness. The world praises those who sleep less, who work through exhaustion as though fatigue were weakness. But science tells another story. Sleep loss impairs attention, distorts emotion, and accelerates cellular aging. It weakens the immune system, raises stress hormones, and dulls the brain's sharpest functions. Even a single night of deprivation can cause measurable cognitive decline. We've built a civilization that runs on wakefulness, and yet we are starving for rest. The Delta Awakening begins when we decide that true strength lies not in endurance, but in recovery. Reclaiming the night. To awaken the Delta mind, one must first surrender the day. That means reestablishing a rhythm our biology still remembers, a return to the harmony of darkness, quiet, and timing. Start with the simplest act, light. At sunset, reduce brightness. Allow darkness to signal your brain that night has begun. The hormone melatonin, the chemical gatekeeper of sleep, flows only when light fades. Artificial light delays this natural cascade, pushing sleep further into the night. Then ritualize your transition. Meditation, soft breathing, or silence before bed tells the nervous system it's safe to let go. Disconnect from devices, from stimulation, from urgency. The goal is not sedation, it's surrender. Finally, align your sleep with nature's cues. Consistent timing, a cool environment, and minimal disruption. The body loves rhythm. When you give it consistency, it rewards you with depth. These practices are not modern hacks. They are ancient memories. Your ancestors lived by them instinctively. You need only remember. The delta mind and human potential. When the brain regularly enters deep delta sleep, something extraordinary happens over time. Memory improves. Creativity expands. Emotional regulation strengthens. And physical vitality increases. But beyond the measurable, there's an intangible shift, a deep sense of clarity. People who restore their delta rhythm often describe feeling more themselves. They report intuition resurfacing, focus returning, and joy rekindling. Modern neuroscience might call this optimal brain function. Ancient wisdom would call it awakening. The delta mind isn't mystical. It's human potential fully realized, the brain operating as it was designed to. When we restore deep sleep, we restore connection to thought, to body, to purpose. The rhythm of life. Delta waves aren't confined to the brain. Their frequency, 1 to 4 cycles per second, echoes the natural rhythms of the universe. The heartbeat of the earth itself, the Schumann resonance, vibrates at similar frequencies. It's as though the planet and the mind share a common language, a slow, grounding pulse that unites biology with cosmos. When we sleep deeply, we tune back into that universal rhythm. The body and the world fall back into sync. And in that resonance there's balance, the same balance that sustains life across all ecosystems. To live in harmony with that rhythm is to awaken, not only as individuals, but as a species. The new frontier. For decades, science looked outward, to space, to machines, to the farthest limits of exploration. Now, the next great frontier may be inward. Understanding consciousness, restoring natural rhythms, and optimizing sleep could define the next era of human evolution. Technologies like neurofeedback, sound therapy, and transcranial stimulation are already being studied to enhance delta activity safely. But the true revolution won't come from machines, it will come from awareness. When humanity learns to honor rest as deeply as it honors productivity, everything changes. Our creativity, our empathy, our health, and our intelligence all begin in the same place, the quiet pulse of deep sleep. The final awakening. In the end, the delta state reminds us of something profound, that stillness, not motion, fuels growth. That rest, not resistance, sustains strength. And that silence, not sound, awakens truth. Each night, when you surrender to sleep, you're not escaping life. You're engaging in its most essential ritual. You're stepping into the workshop of renewal, where cells rebuild, memories settle, and the mind reconnects with itself. The world you wake into each morning is shaped by the depth of the sleep that came before. And in that understanding lies power, the power to reclaim health, focus, creativity, and purpose. The Delta Awakening isn't a moment. It's a practice, a return to rhythm, a homecoming to the deepest part of what makes us human. Because when we learn to rest deeply, we don't just awaken refreshed, we awaken transformed. The silence between heartbeats, the stillness between thoughts, the rhythm beneath dreams. This is the Delta Powerhouse, the ancient pulse of human renewal, and the secret that once rediscovered can awaken the full brilliance of the mind.